So my comic is pretty much done at this point. I've got all my images and my audio imported, and I've got all the comic data for the 5 sequences in my comic. There are just a few more tweaks that I still want to make to the menus that appear in my game. So there are 3 separate menus in a panels comic. I've got my main menu here. I've got a credits menu, and I have a list of the chapters that appear in my game. So let's start by customizing this chapters menu. This one is pretty easy because I get just about everything I need by default. This menu uses the titles that I specify in my sequences as the chapter titles, so I don't need to do anything there, and I could just leave this as is if I want to. But there is one thing I like to change. Instead of having this say chapters at the top, I want to use my game logo here. And I already have an image in my images folder that I want to use for this. I just need to tell panels that I want to use this image for the chapter header. To do that, I'll go to my main file and specify that image in my settings. So there's a setting for chapter menu header image, and I just need to point it to that image file. And once again, the path to this image is relative to my images folder. And as this comment says, if I want to change any settings, I should do that before this line where I call start. And now when I bring up that chapter menu, I see my game logo gets centered at the top of this screen. There are a couple other settings I can change for the chapter menu. You can find those in the documentation. One of those settings lets you hide the chapter menu altogether. I don't really recommend that you do that, but it's an option if that fits how you want your game to work. Next, let's look at the credits menu. So I can see here that my credits are defined in this game credits file. If I open that file, I see a table. At the top of this table are some general settings for my credits menu. So the text in my credits will be center aligned, and I have it set to not scroll automatically. That all looks good. Right here is where I could also set a custom font if I want to use a different font for my credits. Again, you should refer to the documentation to see all the options that you can change here. And then down at the bottom, I have a table that just lists the actual lines of text that will be displayed for my credits. So the credits menu will lay these out for me automatically, so I don't have to specify any positioning information for those, just the text that will be used for each line. And just like other text on Playdate, you can use asterisks here to get bold formatting for certain words or even for the entire line. So you can see those asterisks around my name make my name appear bold in the credits. And I can also include images here. So if I want to use my game logo instead of just plain text, I can specify that image. Once again, relative to my images folder. And just like with text, the menu will lay this out for me using center alignment, so I don't need to position it. I think it looks kind of dorky to have the credits title here above my game logo, so I'll add a setting to my credits file just to hide that standard credits header. That's much better. So the last thing I want to change is my main menu, because I don't want my comic to always have this panels menu when people open my game. I want it to be customized to my game. And all I have to do that is just replace this menu image PNG in my images folder. So this is a full screen 400 by 240 image, but the bottom 45 pixels of this will get covered by that actual menu that pops up. So just make sure to not put anything really important in that area. Again, I'll refer you to the panel's documentation to check out the other few settings available for the main menu. But I do want to change this one that came set in the project template. This setting causes the game to always launch into the main menu. From there, the user can choose a chapter or continue from where they left off. But I prefer to have the game just launch straight into the comic at the sequence the user was last on. And that's actually the default behavior, so I can just delete this setting. Now my game launches straight into the comic, and the user will only ever see my main menu once they complete all the sequences in this comic. And that's it. I think we're done. Happy paneling, everyone. I'm excited to see what comics you will make with this.